All right, so higher education versus experience, which is kind of should I pursue higher education, or should I have some experience before I pursue higher education? I think we go back to the first fundamental question: why higher education? Is higher education to land a job? Is higher education to advance knowledge? Is higher education to advance your awareness of that subject? Is higher education to perhaps go and maybe teach? I think once you're clear on the objective of the higher education, some of the answers will be clearer. If the higher education is to get a job, which may be true for many of you, or get a higher paying job, which also could be the case, then it's a very different kind of line of thinking, right? Let me give you my own example. I did my bachelor's and I did my master's immediately after an MBA. I had no, in my batch, perhaps I was among the youngest management graduates from that standpoint. If I knew what I knew now, I would have gained some experience and then done my management. But it is challenging because I'm a bachelor's in electronics. And sometimes you don't get jobs in bachelor's in electronics alone. I'm not engineering, I'm bachelor's in science. So it's also a little bit of a choice, right? If I had continued gaining an experience, the experience would not have come easily, and the experience may not also have been relevant. I think for those of you, most of you who are at least an engineer by qualification, you can actually get a job. Most of you can get a job, or are job qualified, let me put it this way. There may be fewer jobs, it's a separate conversation. So if the purpose of higher education is to land a better paying job, then perhaps yes. But if the purpose of higher education is to learn and acquire different skills, then experience has little meaning. It's also a question of what is higher education in, right? If you're pursuing, let's say, in the technical field, then higher education perhaps maybe immediately after works. But if it's, for example, management, then I would certainly advise get some experience. Because in management, a lot of the concepts, you don't appreciate it as much until you actually have some experience. For example, this whole organization behavior, right? That, believe me, it'll sound like theory if you have no experience, but it'll sound like nirvana if you have experience. So it's a question of what you want to choose for in terms of the higher education. I think there was another one about, I think both of them were linked around higher education. Do you have?
Then it's not hard to study the management. I'm currently pursuing BTech and I want to do MBA. And if I made a gap of 2 or 3 years, isn't there difficulty for me to study then?
No, so there are lots of people who've done this while studying. Forget about missing in my family, my brother-in-law, again, he may be an exception. He's IIT Delhi, spent 2-3 years, then did it at Ahmedabad. So it is possible. It's not a question of not being possible, but I think it's a question of what are you doing for, right? If it is to land a higher paying, a better paying job, then maybe yes. If you want to do management, then you can do it right now. But what you're essentially suggesting is you're emphasizing that it will be easier for you to prepare for it.
Sir, when I choose it,
yeah. Okay, go ahead.
So when I choose engineering, I don't know what to do in the future. But as the years passed on, I want to gain my interest in business field. I want to go in marketing field. So I would like to do MBA. And if I get the job after engineering and I create a gap, and it will be the technical part, and I will not gain the experience of that management.
Sure. So based on what you've described, if I were you, like I said, I have done it differently. If I were you, I'd actually gain some experience, then do the management. Okay. That's my advice.